Recently, one of my subscribers said, hey, you should do Artfight. And I was thinking, what's Artfight? So I did some research and found out what Artfight is. And I was like, oh, this seems fun. I'm going to join it. So I joined around 10 days into Artfight and I was put on Team Comedy. And over the course of Artfight, I made 4 very simple characters. The 4 characters I made were Grimblett, Jimothy, Peglegs Pierre, and Button-Eye Burby. I'm going to go through the artwork the 4 characters received, starting off with Grimblett, because he definitely got the most by far. So the first 2 artworks I received were Grimblett Goes Skiing and Grimblett Pixel Art, and they were both really cute, and I love the inclusion of the skis and the whole background in Grimblett Goes Skiing, and the pixel art was also a really cute style. So the next piece of artwork I received was actually done by the commenter who recommended Artfight to me, and it was also the first artwork I received that had multiple different characters, which was really cool. And I felt like the idea of the blobs feeding the birds was very in character. The next piece of art I got was by Tammy Meep, and the way they drew Grimblett in this one was actually really cool, and I feel like it gave a lot of life to the character, and the colours they used were also really vibrant and really nice to look at. The next artwork after that was just called Grimblett, and it was a complete contrast to the previous one, because it used much like darker and contrasting colours, and it was also one of the only artworks of Grimblett to deviate from their typical like cutesy and goofy style. So the next artwork I got after that was just called Critter Grimblett, and it was a direct response to an attack I made, and it just depicts Grimblett as a little critter. Very cute. The final piece was called Blobs, 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 and it probably had to be my favourite. I just love how they did the style with all the pencil and stuff, and it contains both Grimblett and Jimothy, which leads us perfectly on to the next part. So Jimothy got 4 artworks in total, if we're counting the previous artwork, and the second artwork he was in was just called Yearbook 4, where he was alongside a bunch of other characters, which I thought was a creative way to feature multiple characters. At least, I thought that. And he was probably just used to fill in space, but I can't really blame them, he's very simple. I would do that too. The third artwork Jimothy got was just titled Jimothy, and it used this very unique pencil style, which kind of made him look, sick in the head, which is accurate for the character. The last artwork Jimothy got was called I Hope Tragedy Will Win, and it has Jimothy alongside these 3 smiley face characters, and they kind of labeled Jimothy, and I always like to see a drawing that's done in pencil like this. In total, Peglegs Pierre got only 2 artworks, but they were both masterpieces, with the first one being Pegleg Pierre, and it had this gorgeous lighting, this amazing pose, and it kind of reminds me of a certain video. And the second artwork he got is called Peglegs Pierre Running, which is this really cool animation. It's beautiful. I was very impressed by this one. I really liked this one. Last and least, we have Button-Eye Burby, who got 1 attack in total, but it had this beautiful perspective and this really thin canvas, which I thought was really funny. And they also mistook the button eye for like little rosy red cheeks, but I think it made it quite cute actually. So over the course of the event, I made 8 attacks, which is a measly number in comparison to some people, but I was still decently proud of them. So the first artwork I made was a drawing of Zizi, and this was my first digital drawing I ever made, and I wanted just to keep it very close to the original character, and I did a lot of circus theming, because I was on Team Comedy, I thought it was in theme. After that, I did an artwork called Fried Slime, and the reason I made it a fried slime is because the character looked like a fried egg, so I made it into a fried egg. And I'm quite proud of the translucent look I was able to get, or at least I think it looked kind of translucent. Up for you to decide. The next artwork I drew was called Curious Cat, and this one was actually a thank you for the person who commented that I get into Artfight. And this was also the first vaguely human character I drew, and I also got to draw some blobs, which always makes me happy. After that, I made an artwork called The Hunted Hare, where I tried a different style, and I mostly picked it because I really liked the character, and after I drew it, they got revenge on me. So, yeah, fair enough. Next, I made an artwork called Sleepy Malaya, and I mostly just picked this one because it was a little simple-shaped character, and I'm quite good at those, I'd say. And also, the colour palette was really nice and warm, and I found the character quite cute, so I thought it was perfect. Then I made an artwork called Stargazing, which was kind of a simple one, but I didn't think there was much else I could add. It turned out decent enough. Next, I made an artwork called Alternative Timelines, and this was really close to the character in the way I drew it, and I think what saved it is definitely the art style I used, because it makes it a lot cooler. The last artwork I drew was called Bug Watching, and the reason it's like this is because the character I drew is a moth, which made me think of Sia from Hollow Knight, so I decided to draw them together, just bug watching. because I thought it'd be cute. And the entire background is probably the background I put the most effort into. And it is very similar to the actual in-game background, but I quite liked it. So overall, my experience with Artfight was quite positive. I really like seeing all the different artworks people made and all the different characters that I got to draw. And it was just a really fun time, and I can't wait to do next year's one. So thank you to that subscriber for recommending this to me. It was really nice. Bye.